Hello everybody and welcome back to Bankruptcy Simulator, where we are about to experience bankruptcy. And this could be theoretically a very bad thing if we get attacked when we are in this bankruptcy. Now, we've managed to get a lot constructed in this time, and actually our bankruptcy just got pushed back by a couple of weeks. That is probably not enough time to get this logging camp finished, unfortunately, but we will see. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough time. We've got about 4 weeks here. So, this is going to immediately pause our construction, and we're going to enter deficit. Or rather, we're going to enter default on our debt. And that's not going to be good, of course, but we will see what happens here. It's going to clear this, so I don't think this logging camp is going to get finished. Hopefully we don't get attacked. That's the dream. Okay, so there we go. We are now officially in default, and that has paused this. We cannot resume construction while we're in default. And this is not going to get better. We have exactly one option, and that option is that we can declare bankruptcy. We need to go into... I need to remember how to do this. I think we need to go into here. Yes. So, that's going to boost our loan interest rate for 10 years. Institution size change speed isn't going to matter all that much for us. Market access price impact, welfare payments multiplier, but the real issue here is the offense and defense and the leverage generation. That's going to be a problem. But let's do it. We have no choice. We have to do this. So, this is our new balance, and as we can see, we have nothing under construction at this moment. We have a privatization underway, and let's see what happens to our... Okay, we just got 200K. That must have been from the privatization. So we're going to lose our power rank. I don't care about that. That's absolutely fine for the moment. But what we need to do right now, of course, is see what our balance is. Minus 5.4. Okay. I feel like we have exactly one option at this point, and that pretty much is that we need to back off on our fleet count. I think we need to destroy some of our fleets. Okay, I'm going to do this for now, and that puts us at minus 3.98K. So our fleet is gone. And we could back off some on our army as well. So, we need to back off a decent amount on this. To about here. I'm not happy about it, but we do have to do it. So that's understood. Okay, now we're running a surplus, theoretically. Okay. Silesia is damaging relations. That's not necessarily surprising. So as we go through this, this is not going to be 10 years of minus 75%. It decays over time. So as you can see, we've already recovered 1% of that. So that is absolutely noted. At this point, we're at minus 81.2, and that is... I love how we're breaking our gold reserves chart here. That is absolutely understood. At this point, we probably want to cease subventions and any subsidies that we do have. So let's go into our buildings here. We should not be subsidizing any, but I do see subsidies in that chart, which is odd. Okay, so now we need to go into our market here, and can we... Okay, we can see all of our subventions here. So I'm just going to put it here. We cannot change our man-o'-wars at this point for a little while. We're going to bring our explosives to here and then our steel to here. There we go. Okay, so minus 747, and that is, of course, due to the steel shortage and the explosives shortage. So at this moment, we know that we do need to run the subvention for steel and for explosives. And we probably need to run one for engines as well. Actually, we're a producer of engines. let's run that for the moment. How are we doing on small arms? Okay, we're subventing that, and same with ammunition. Noted. Okay, so currently we're working on privatization. That's good to know. That's actually a very good thing. So at this moment, what I want to do is I want to be constructing raw resource production. So this is going to end up being, let's see, 1.44K in Syria. That sounds good. Basically, I'm going to queue up anything that makes us over 1K per month. That is in the resources tab here. So a lot of this is not going to be that. Okay, so it's just those 2 logging camps. Understood. Let's resume our construction, and this is going to put us pretty negative financially. That's okay. For the time being, it will be paid for through privatization. For the time being. So we're minus 14.1K. That's understood. We have an iron shortage at this juncture. Okay. I want to check in on our iron mine in Palestine. So what do we have going on here? Lack of tools. So what do we have going on with our tooling workshop? It just needs to hire in. It's working on it. Honestly, I feel like we could use an additional iron mine, specifically in Palestine. So let's go ahead and start building one there. It's not the highest earning amount, but I'm going to put it here. Okay, so we'll get that going. As you can see, our GDP has started to upswing, but it'll be a little bit yet. This is absolutely going to take some time. So we're going to get this logging camp finished. And our privatization should keep us afloat. We just don't want to go back into debt, especially not while we have this going on. 24.6 is still not that bad of an interest rate, but we don't want to go heavily into debt again if we can help it. That was a one-time only thing, ideally. So minus 9.6K, that's noted. We're going to have to pause construction, and that'll leave us at minus 1.03K. So, we need to take a look at our expenses. And in fact, we need to pause our construction right now. So at this point, we are going to go very slightly into debt, and we're still going to be in debt until the financial districts privatize. Our goods for military buildings is still very significant here. I feel like we need to get rid of more of our military. I really don't want to do this, but I think it's absolutely necessary. So we'll do that. The AI is probably drooling over us right now, if I had to guess. They're going to be very, very delighted to pounce on this. I'm a little surprised they haven't already. So as we can see, we're still running a small debt at this point. Goods for military buildings is still a big part of this. Okay. We'll cut our military even more. We just have to grow into it. So at this point, we're slightly in debt, and we need to work our way out of the debt. That's a big, big chunk of what we've got going on here. So we're going to have a big payout once this port in Basra gets privatized. Mechanical tools have been unlocked, and that's, you know, fine. But we don't have any steel for that. So that's not going to be very useful for us at this moment. We've got a lot that we need to do yet. Okay, so we're working our way out of debt, but debt is not our major problem at this moment. At this point, our major problem is just our economy is very weak, and we need to get it steamrolling. The play for power, huh? Rabbinical Council political strength? We don't have a law change ongoing right now. We're in an unacceptable government, and is there even anything that we want to change? I wouldn't mind going to mass conscription, but we can't do that. So that's not an option. We're on appointed bureaucrats. We're on state religion at this moment, which I think is fine. And we are on per capita taxation. Would we be better off changing any of our taxation? Actually, this would be a change in revenue from our current tax law if we go to land-based taxation. And is that the best revenue change? I mean, 20K is significant. We should do it. So, the Rabbinical Council, I don't think, has any particular opinion in this. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. Cool. Let's get that going. Land-based taxation is absolutely going to... And yeah, the landowners are going to be sad about this, I believe. Right? The landowners... Oh, the landowners approve of this, actually. It's the rural folk that are going to be upset. Okay, fair enough. So, we just got a payout here. As you can see, we've got about 100K in the bank. So now, that graph is so broken right now. We'll get there. Central archives have been unlocked, and empiricism has been unlocked. So now we're working towards pharmaceuticals. We want to be able to get down to quinine. So that'll be absolutely wonderful. But we need to continue this construction right now. We need to put the money that we got from privatization into expanding our economy. That's what needs to happen at this moment. So we have no domestic steel production, right? I'm pretty sure we have none. Yeah, we have no domestic steel production. So that's understood. I would like to have this be honestly in Palestine, but I don't think this is a time to build this. We need to continue to work on our economy from the bottom up. That means that we need things like getting logging camps. We need to get iron mines, which right now is apparently not a good time to do. Eventually coal mines. Actually, there are some decent coal mines here, like in Lebanon, but that has plenty of employment that it can get yet. Okay, we're at this point out of money, so we gotta pause our constructions. We'll be in debt for a little bit here, and we'll work our way out of that. And in the meantime, our investment pool will continue to work on privatizing another port. So that seems fine. This is a pattern that we're going to be doing for a little bit here. I just don't want to risk going into bankruptcy again once we get a little bit later in this game, because we've got some people around here that'll absolutely hammer us for that. An early bankruptcy is probably fine. We can likely get away with that, but once we get a little further into the game, probably not. So that is absolutely a concern. I want to check in on how we're doing on our colonizations. These are very slow, and that's not very surprising. Okay, that looks good. So we've still got a little bit of credit here. We're working our way through that, but the interest payments are minimal at this point. We have an illegitimate government, which means that we're not working on land-based taxation at this time. Okay. We need to boost our legitimacy. And that is absolutely noted. How do we want to do that? Well, the easiest way to do that would be to cut taxes, which I'm going to do. We got to get land-based taxation passed. We're going to cut taxes so that our taxes will be raised. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense when you take it out of context, but that's where we are. So the armed forces are currently angry, and the rural... Well, everybody's angry. Nobody's very happy with our current situation here. To be clear, I'm not either. I absolutely want to make more progress on getting these constructions built, though. So our financial districts are working on privatizing our port in Israeli Lower Egypt next. That's understood. And we've definitely got some shortages ongoing here. Would we be better off to back off the wooden buildings? Possibly. Yeah, I think we would. I'm going to back off to wooden buildings here, and for the time being, that's just what we're going to have to do. It's rough. There's no doubt about it. Death and taxes. Okay, so enactment success chance, and this guy would die. Okay. I want the enactment success chance. We need to get that passed. So that seems relatively fine. Our GDP is kind of holding for the moment. What's our population doing at this moment? Well, it's growing by about 100K a year. That's not great by any means, but it'll do. So that's fine for now. We've got a lot of problems at this moment. There's no doubt about that. But we need to get land-based taxation passed, and we need to do it fast. So iron mines are going to be finishing up right about now, this very week. I'm going to let them finish, and we're going to go a little bit into debt, and then we'll pause our constructions. We can see that we're going to get this privatization done fairly soon, but that is going to allow us to produce a good amount of additional iron. That's up over here. And if we look at that, we can see, okay, yeah, that definitely needs to be done. But by dropping our production method of our construction here, that actually tanked our requirement for iron. That's interesting. I'm going to keep this on wooden buildings, and we're going to take our tooling workshops up to wrought iron tools. That's going to boost the demand for iron. So we're going to get that up. Yes, we could go to steel tools. We don't produce steel. So at this moment, I'm not going to be doing that. Okay. So we're privatizing. There we go. That port has been privatized. That's very good. We want to continue to do that, but we also want to build here. So let's get a construction going on this logging camp in Syria. And we should probably be thinking the atmospheric engine. Ooh. Coal, iron, lead, and sulfur mine throughput, or we could get tech progress. Honestly, I feel like we need the throughput. So we're going to do that for now. And we need to think about maybe some cash crops. Honestly, this is in Iran. I don't want to build it in Iran. Okay, let's just check through these for right now. Ooh, 1.53K. That's pretty solid. So vineyards are definitely a good thing to build. Let's see what else we've got. Banana plantations. I'm going to build one of those. I'm going to build one vineyard for right now. Coffee, not that great. We could absolutely build a cotton plantation. Dye is not phenomenal, but we could build an opium plantation. And we're just kind of going for some cash crops at this point. And then a tobacco plantation. Okay, that's all we're going to put in for now. And those are going to take some time to build. Absolutely. But we definitely need to start getting our production base a little bit broader here. Italian unification, huh? Well, good luck with that. So we're back down to an illegitimate government. You know what that means? We got to cut our taxes again. Okay. We have to get land-based taxation passed, and it has to happen soon. So we're no longer illegitimate at this point. 55 days. Okay, how are we doing on that bankruptcy? Well, we've still got 8 years on this. It's still rough. It's very, very rough. But it is getting better. So that's good. We've got unrest in our Italian regions, which is unsurprising at this point. But we'll be working on some of that. Now, we need to pause our construction, which we will definitely do. And the question is, are we still going to be positive with our tax cut? Surprisingly, no. That's actually not surprising. Okay, so that seems fine. We'll just rely on the privatization for the moment. We'll run this very, very small deficit. Now, our GDP is absolutely tanked. We've got famine going on. This isn't necessarily surprising. We have a lot of things that we need to do in order to make this actually much more viable. And I wish I knew how to cancel these colonizations out over here. That would be nice. That'd be really nice. Okay, so we progressed up to consideration on land-based taxation. It's very, very important that we get land-based taxation completed. That is, in fact, of the utmost priority. So at this point, we can see we've got a little bit of gold reserves. The question is, how long would it take us to build this? 24 weeks minus 66% construction efficiency in all of these locations means that this is probably not even worth building at this moment. So we'll come back to that. And the question is, what do we want to build then? Well, we could definitely build more logging camps. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to put a logging camp in Palestine, and we'll have these here, but for the moment, it's not a big priority. Only minus 5k? Okay, that's more like where I expected it to be. Minus 15k is much more accurate. Let's get this logging camp completed, and let's see what we've got here. Securing the power, huh? So, our agents are suggesting that we suppress the rural folk, and honestly, what do we got on that? So that's in our journal. What does this want us to do? Rural folk clout less or equal to 20%. Okay, it's currently at 32.7%. So there's not a lot that we can do about them right now other than do a political movement. But for the moment, that seems okay. We are going to go after them. Absolutely. But for right now, we've got other problems. That's for sure. We've got a lot of other problems, in fact. Like, a ridiculous amount of other problems. So, political migration. What do we got going on here? Plus 5% prestige. Minus 10% radicals from political movements actually sounds good. So we'll do that. This is going to be the landowners getting a prominent general. Now, the landowners aren't, like, turbo powerful. I'm going to give this to them because I'd really like to have somebody with positive approval of us. That would be nice. We're not quite going to get this logging camp built, I think, but I'm going to finish it. That'll be fine. Rabbinical Council joining the Israel Paphlagonian Fellowship. They would also gain 10% political strength. Honestly, okay. That's fine. Yeah, they're a little upset. They'll get over it. It's okay. So we've got 2 weeks of construction on our logging camp. I'm not going to put a lot of effort into building these down over here. It's just not worth it at this moment. But we do need to get this logging camp built and get our economic base built up a little bit. Okay, now we should pause our construction. We're going to be running a bit of a deficit. That's absolutely understood, but this port will get privatized soon. Minus 19.8. That's not bad, actually. Okay, now we're positive. That's a good sign. That's a really good sign. We don't even have land-based taxation right now. Keep that in mind. We're in unacceptable government 38. That seems okay. We do need to get the armed forces. We could maybe kick them out of the government at this time. That would actually be a big boost to us. And this is barely any radicals. Do it. So now the landowners are the only ones in government, and we're in a much better position there. That means that we could crank our taxes. Once again. Minus 20 legitimacy would put us at 47, so just into unacceptable, though. I think for the moment, we'll maybe raise our taxes to high. Like that. Yeah, we'll sit about here. I don't want to go into unacceptable government. Contested is much better for us. So for the moment, that seems relatively fine. We've got some money built up at this point. Ah, we hit a debate here. Minus 20% enactment time. The rural folk would be even angrier. No, we'll go by the book. It's fine. Okay, so we're going to get another port privatized shortly here. Things are definitely moving along at this point, but they're not moving nearly as quickly as we would like. So, what do we got going on in terms of shortages? So, we've got a paper shortage. We've got an engine shortage. We do have a paper mill somewhere. Where is that? That's in Syria? Okay. That's fine. We'll leave that be. Do we have a motor industry? Yes, we do in Israeli Blue Nile down here. So that's not really getting good resource flow. Noted. So if we come down to our motor industry down here, it needs steel. So steel production is actually something that I think we should probably get at least a little bit of. And I'm wondering how many peasants we have available in Syria at this moment. 98.4, 58.7, 71.5. We'll build it in Syria. So this is currently negative 3.43. And this is going to increase the cost of a couple of different goods. The goods that it's going to increase are, of course, going to be coal and iron. I'm not that concerned about the iron in this region. I think we can absorb that. The coal, on the other hand, that might be a problem. So let's see what we've got for the coal mines here. We've got this in Lebanon. Actually, yeah, let's expand that first, and then we'll do the steel mill. And then we'll think about these eventually, but that's a long ways off before we're actually interested in building these. Okay, well, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to continue to struggle along here, but we will get this into a much better state eventually. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.